I often recommend quite a lot of manga, but I rarely give you updates on how they're going. Today, I want to take you through some of my favorite that started off interesting and are currently doing very phenomenal things that I think is 100% worth your time. Mad is currently 32 chapters. If you're not reading this story, you are missing out. The opening premise of this story really hooked me. It's a post-apocalyptic world filled with aliens. Humans are struggling to survive, and the only way that they can fight back is by potentially becoming these alien hybrids themselves. To become that, however, the experimentation is disgusting, dangerous, and not many people survive it. This story often surprises me. I am a sucker for apocalyptic worlds, for humans struggling and fighting so desperately to survive, but also the hybridization when you take a normal human that has to evolve and overcome and adapt to this new environment and also new enemy. It's fairly simple in design, but its execution is what gets me. There's something clean and crisp about it. It's addicting to read, something that I look forward to every other week when it does drop. It manages to not only cover a lot of ground every chapter, but also convey a level of detail of emotion very similar to Tatsuki Fujimoto. There feels to be a bit of inspiration behind the facial expressions, the intimate moments, even the dialogue. 30 chapters later, it feels comfortable, like it's finally starting to spread its wings to explore more interesting ideas. One of the more recent ideas is more hybrid people, different groups and survivors that look at hybrid people as either their weaponry, their defenses, their kings or rulers, and in some instances, their god. A cult-like fascination with hybridization and humans becoming gods. A fanatic religion is starting to spawn within this world that only adheres to these godlike entities. I know a lot of stories tend to follow a similar route, but truly there is something fascinating about how this story operates, and when it really wants to get sensitive and emotional and thought-provoking, it does it well. Its paneling, its execution is genuinely some of the best I've seen from an author that I've never really heard of. But when it wants to dive into action, it's chaotic and bombastic and super out there. The only thing that's realistically missing, and something that is only been slightly teased, is its aliens. Still to this day, you don't really know anything about them, how they operate, how they work, are they evolving, how do they view humans. You just know them as these impossible killing machines that took over the world. The focus has been on those humans and its development, and it's put a lot of things in place to carry the story rather far. Personal vendettas and grudges, really scary cult and fascination with hybridized people, and then the main character struggling to learn to become this new hybrid that he's forced into being. It is a wonderfully told story, so incredibly entertaining. I really want more people to read it, so if any of this sounds interesting, please do go give it a read. Ashura's Verdict was a story that I wasn't really sure about. 19 chapters later though, it's definitely changed my tune. At the beginning, the idea is a little bit quirky. It kind of fumbles over itself here and there, and it comes across just edgy, over the top, and over dramatic. Those aren't the worst traits to have, especially if you know what type of story you're telling. For me personally, I don't really find those type of stories engaging, especially for a long period of time. The appeal tends to wear off. Ashura's Verdict, however, I think has started to change that. Knowing that it can't simply rely on the mere shock value or the execution of its gimmick or idea, it's starting to twist it into something a lot more psychological, something horrifying, an investigation on top of it, trying to unravel this very weird secret. Basically, this boy who has been bullied and abused his entire life is a really happy-go-lucky boy. He wants to do right by the world, he wants to help people as best he can, and it's something that's been instilled to him by his mother. So whenever he gets the chance, he will try and do good. But the gimmick with this kid is that he never really shows any facial expression. You don't really know what he's thinking. He kind of just comes off as a blanketed, stale child. Until he finds a key. And this key basically allows him to send people that he deems worthy into hell. And by worthy, I mean people that he thinks are not doing good for society or for other people. All he has to do is implant this key into his victim's forehead, turn it, and a gate of hell will open up and that person will be ripped into it. These delinquents, bullies, abusers, horrible people just end up missing. So of course, the more people that start to go missing, the more investigators start to actually come in. And now it's starting to turn into a small cat and mouse game. This kid has not really thought about the ramifications or what he could or couldn't or should or shouldn't be doing. All he thinks in his head is what is good. And it's so warped around the execution of this key that he doesn't really do anything else. The interest that I have for this story now is more people finding out about this boy, finding out about this key and actually witnessing what he's doing to these people. And you can imagine what that would look like. So more people are cautious. There's like an investigation team that's slowly trailing behind this kid, trying to figure out where these missing people are going. And even bigger gangs are forming around, trying to figure out where some of their crucial members are going, because some of them are important. I think the funniest thing about it that always makes me laugh is that the kid never shows any other expression. Now he just seems more creepy. And something is happening. He's starting to contort and twist and be a little bit different, both in personality but also physicality. I like these recent developments, and I think it's shifted into a very fascinating story that probably won't go on for all too long, but is well worth your time. Check it out and give it a chance. Blue Proustian Moment was a surprise because when I read it, I didn't think all too much about it originally, yet 18 chapters later, beautiful. I have fallen in love with the simplicity of this story, the emotional vulnerability of this story, the telling of two sides between completely different worlds, and how these two young girls kind of navigate life together. It feels earnest, coming of age, inexperienced lifestyles merging together that you wouldn't think would work together, but eventually they do, and really just exploring yourself as an individual. The story focuses on the relationship of these two girls, and one of them is incredibly rich. She's had a diamond-encrusted spoon in her mouth since birth. Her family owns a lot of businesses, they're incredibly wealthy, reputable, everybody knows them, and she goes to a very prestigious, all-girls school. But she kind of has a bit of a rough personality. She doesn't really have any friends. Everyone's kind of scared of her. She comes across what I would consider her opposite. Another young girl around about her same age that goes to a public school that has no money, that has seen the wars pretty much through her life, being abused and having horrible, disgusting parents, and genuinely just trying to get by. And they have this odd connection. There's tension at first, like a bit of weirdness between them, especially from the rich girl. Slowly she starts to open up to this new girl and what she represents. They start spending more time together, they start to grow with each other, and while it's not inherently romantic, it's not trying to push itself as a romance story, the undertone feelings are 100% there. They're slow and methodical, kind of brumbles and blooms very nicely underneath. It's sweet and innocent. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing to watch their relationship grow, and 100% while reading it, I fall in love with these characters. I love their quirks, I love how they interact, I love what they get up to. The story doesn't really have a bigger plot, it's more just about them. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are going to know about this story, but if you want to read something that handles emotions, relationships, the difficulties between trauma sharing, but also just how they experience life together from different perspectives, this is 100% worth your time. It's very sweet, it's very beautiful, it's very emotional, and I love them together. When I first recommended this, I hope you went and read it, because at the beginning, it was interesting. A very cool premise, a very unique look and feel to it. The atmosphere was through the roof, the artwork was grungy and gross, and it was just brimming with this creativity. A random apartment complex that is stuck within this weird time loop at the end of the world, the final second before the world basically collapses and destroys itself into oblivion, and this apartment is stuck within this loop and is able to survive and even thrive. thrive. This apartment, however, is very complex, very all over the place. It's not normal, and the residents and all people within it have been in there for an endless amount of time. I did not expect the direction that this story would take, the creativity that it would come up with, and most of all, how it's visualized. I wish I could show you these beautiful, specific, and crisp manga panels that breathe so much atmosphere, so much life into this story. Arguably, with everything that's on the market, this one stands out so incredibly well. Like, you will not read anything like it in the current lineup. I love the characters. I love how Mason, being like this young girl trying to navigate this apartment, and she's the new landlord of it, so she has a lot of power, but not like enough controlling power to rearrange and change everything. But she's learning about this apartment. She's finding new things. She's getting into mischief, and it feels like this grand adventure story while uncovering mystery and kind of hidden plots and agendas to this completely alien thing that's currently surrounding them. No one knows how the apartment works. No one knows the mystical, weird nature of it, yet Mason is trying to figure that out, and she's doing a fine job at it, putting herself in random positions, in dangerous positions, to explore every flaw, every nook and cranny, every mystery that this place has to offer. And when I say that you will not know what happens next, I guarantee you won't. 16 chapters this has, and not once have I felt comfortable knowing where this story would go, what it would do, or how it would showcase it, yet every time I'm pleased, I'm impressed, and I am yearning for more. I don't expect this story to be super long or super successful, but it has a niche, a solid one at that I think a lot of people can easily fall in love with. So check it out, give it a chance. I promise you will fall in love with it.